The council chamber was supposed to be the safest place in the galaxy. A ring of marble-like stone stretched around a table built from metals mined on a dozen worlds, banners of every species fluttering above. To sit here meant you spoke for millions, sometimes billions. But that night, as the chamber doors slammed open and the Malarians stormed out, even the banners seemed to tremble. The Malarians were proud, scaled creatures, slender but tall, with ridges of bone running down their backs like armor. Their admiral snarled at the council as he left, his voice echoing in the chamber. "We are done bowing to cowards. The Federation is weak, ruled by compromise. We will no longer chain ourselves to its hollow peace." Every other delegate fell silent. Estelle, daughter of the Andori Prime Minister, felt her throat tighten. Her people had seen war before, long, bitter campaigns that left entire moons empty. But this felt different. When the Malarians left, slamming their spears into the marble one last time, all eyes turned to the human delegation. They were newcomers. Not the largest empire, not the wealthiest. Yet their presence was unnerving. Ambassador Solomon sat with his arms crossed, his features half hidden in shadow, a thin line of smoke curling upward from the cigarette clenched between his fingers. When he spoke, his voice was calm, too calm. "You've just unleashed something you don't understand," Solomon said. His gaze lingered on the door where the Malarians had exited. "You think you want war, but you've never fought a war with us." The chamber erupted in shouts, alien voices clashing, some demanding sanctions, others begging for negotiation. Estelle, seated near Solomon, glanced at him. He didn't shout, didn't posture. He just watched the smoke rise, his face unreadable. And in that stillness, she felt more fear than from all the Malarians' threats. The war began quickly. Skirmishes first, raids on supply lines, captured colonies, fleets burning against the void. At first, the Malarians seemed unstoppable. Their ships were sleek predators, their soldiers disciplined and merciless. They carved through smaller races like knives through silk. The Federation trembled. But then, humanity entered the war. The first time Estelle saw it, she was on a secure observation vessel above the shattered moon of Verric. A Malarian fleet had cornered a human expeditionary force, their ships outnumbered 5-1. She expected a retreat, or annihilation. Instead, the humans advanced. "Admiral, they are not breaking formation," her aide whispered. Estelle leaned forward, eyes wide. On the tactical holo, human ships surged forward, engines burning white-hot. The Malarians opened fire, lances of plasma cutting across the void. Ships exploded, hulls shattered. But the humans didn't stop. They plunged through the barrage like wolves through fire. And then came the boarding actions. Estelle's feed shifted, pulling images from combat drones. Human marines in black armor slammed into Malarian ships, breaching hulls with explosions that shook entire decks. The Malarians fought with claws and plasma spears, but the humans, they laughed. That was what Estelle couldn't shake. Through the screams, through the chaos of fire and steel, she heard them, humans shouting war cries, laughing as they pushed forward, faces blooded but eyes alight. One soldier, his arm slashed open and bleeding freely, swung his rifle like a club, grinning even as he fell. His comrades roared and surged around him. The Malarians broke. For the first time, Estelle saw them retreat, not from numbers, not from technology, but from something far more terrifying. They retreated because the humans enjoyed it. Word spread quickly. Federation channels filled with panicked reports. Entire fleets that had once mocked humanity now whispered about them like a storm that could not be stopped. The Andori called it madness. The Zoktar called it deathlust. The Tavari called it beauty. Estelle didn't know what to call it, only that she couldn't look away. She met Solomon again weeks later, in the council chamber. He was standing alone, cigarette between his fingers, staring at a holo display of casualty counts. Malarians, hundreds of thousands. Humans, tens of thousands, but climbing. "They are dying," Estelle said softly. "Your people are dying in numbers I can barely comprehend. And yet, they don't stop." Solomon's jaw tightened. His voice was rough. "You think we enjoy dying? No. We enjoy fighting. We enjoy proving that if death comes, it will come clawing, burning, begging for mercy." Estelle shivered. She realized then that the galaxy had made a mistake. They had measured human weakness in fragile bones and soft skin. But they had never measured human will. The war reached its climax at the siege of Kala Prime. The Malarians gathered their largest fleet, hundreds of warships circling the burning planet like vultures. The Federation debated sending reinforcements. But the humans didn't wait. Estelle stood aboard a Federation command ship, her heart in her throat as the human fleet arrived. They were outnumbered again. Outgunned. But not outmatched. The battle was madness. Plasma fire lit the void in sheets of green and gold. Entire ships detonated in blossoms of flame, their fragments tumbling through the endless dark. Human fighters weaved through the chaos like wasps, striking again and again, even as dozens were torn apart. And then, in the heart of the storm, Estelle saw them, human marines broadcasting live from the ground assault. Their helmets cracked, armor smeared with blood and soot. Yet they were laughing again, shouting to one another through the carnage. One soldier, drenched in ash, raised a captured Malarian banner and screamed a human word Estelle didn't know, but the sound of it sent chills racing down her spine. The Malarians fought with everything they had, but for every human that fell, 2 more seemed to rise, their fury undimmed. Estelle's hands shook as she watched. It wasn't just war. It was, oh joy! Terrible, unholy joy. And then it was over. The Malarians fled. Their fleet shattered. Kayla Prime burned, but it was humanity's flag that rose over its blackened soil. Back in the council chamber, silence fell as Solomon laid the final casualty report on the table. His suit was ash-stained, his face drawn, but his eyes burned with quiet fire. "Now you understand," he said, his voice low but carrying through the chamber. "You measured our weakness. You measured our limits. But you never measured our fear, because we don't fear war. We become it." Estelle met his gaze. In that moment, she understood why the Malarians had lost. Not because humans were stronger, not because they were smarter, but because where others saw horror, humans saw meaning. Where others saw death, humans saw defiance. And as the chamber echoed with silence, Estelle knew the truth would haunt the galaxy for centuries. The alien Admiral had been right about one thing: humans were different. But he had been wrong about everything else. Because in war, the galaxy finally learned the most terrifying truth of all. Humans didn't just survive battle. Humans enjoyed it,